Hey everybody, welcome back to Money with Michael. And today we're going to cover a really interesting part about an algo trading. And a lot of folks say, I can't really make trading bots. I can't do algos and things because, you have to come up with all these different trading ideas and get really, really linear with that kind of stuff. Well, I'm going to tell you today how you can never run out of trading ideas. And this comes based on a concept called models. And in science and engineering and everywhere else, we're taught to approach problems by creating a model, where it's a decision-making modeling tree, so you can come to the right decisions and come to the right ends and conclusions. You really should think about strategies and developing strategies from the point of a model. And this will help you create sustainable bots that you'll understand, and you'll really never run out of ideas. And you can always keep making bots and keep moving forward with it. So again, models work. If you don't believe it, look at even inside the trading space, beyond even engineering. ICT has a model. He says he's got different trading models he's teaching folks, got different ones for his kids and things like that. Kevin Davey, champion algo trader, he's developed an entire strategy factory course where if you go through that course, you'll learn his model for building strategies. What I'm teaching you today, not his model. Thomas Nezadol does the same thing for breakouts, and you can read about his and his breakout revolution. Steve Morrill even does it when you think about Beat the Market Maker. He's got a model based upon the market maker and a weekly cycle that's how he makes his decisions on what he's going to do. Not every one of these is easily reducible down to what an algo trader would need, down to what you can program and put into a computer. But you still can do it. And we'll kind of look into some of these and give you an example of what you can do. So again, models are just a set of steps that make a decision. Every strategy is the product of a model. ICT, when he talks about this is the model I'm developing for my son to use, he's going to use that model to make the decision about when to enter and exit a trade, and whatever strategy comes out, it's the same. And you could take that same set of model and give it to a different person, and their little tweaks on it, make it their own strategy. Every strategy that you produce, every bot that you code is the product of a model. And models can develop different strategies for different people, different times you run it through a computer's engine. And really, the strategy building model is the most important part of bot trading, at least for me. It's how you never run out of ideas. It's how you can constantly tweak them. There have been folks who originally did bots where they had to just think of different ideas and program them over and over, and they would go through hundreds in a year and maybe come up with one or two. If you use these models, you can try out thousands of different strategy ideas over the course of a week, come up with possibly one or two strategies that, if they prove robust enough to you, you could actually trade with real money. It takes some thought, and you got to figure it out, and you've got to code that kind of piece. But think about it this way, especially if you've got any kind of experience with it. Let's examine what you could do for a model to model out just a particular type of strategy. Now, think about that just for mean reversion. You're going to have to think about, how does a mean reversion strategy work? Well, the theory behind a mean reversion strategy obviously is that price has a mean value or a fair value. And if price moves beyond this value at a certain point, it's going to have to return back to the mean. It's going to snap back because market forces and things are going to say, this is just too cheap. This is just too expensive. We got to come back here. And we can build a model for this too. And we can look at it even visually. We've got the mean fair price. Something goes too far away, too far up, too far down, and then it snaps back. Price has to return to the mean. That's the model. There's a mean value, and price must return to it when it goes further beyond. A sentence like that. You can develop a model and code a algorithm, code a program, so that your computer, whether it's TradeStation, NinjaTrade, or Python, can run through that model and pump out strategies for you. Some of these strategies are going to be overfit crap. Some of them just aren't going to work. Some of them are just going to be junk. But the computer can do the work, and then you may come out with it potentials that show a lot of potential. And through those potential strategies, find those gems that are going to make you money. So how are you going to convert this to a strategy? Well, let's think about, how do you measure too far? Well, does it go an average true range? Does it go just higher than the low of the last bar, higher than the high? Is it those institutional levels? You broke 2,500, that round number, broke the other piece. Does that mean you got to come back? Is it a Donkian channel? Is it a Bollinger Band? Is it a standard deviation? How many different ways can you measure that something went potentially too far? Is it the RSI? Maybe you're just using that. That you go too far from the mean when the RSI says so. All these kind of parts are there. What's the mean price? Is it the open? Is it the close? Is it a moving average? Um, think about all those different kind of ways that you can measure that piece. Is it a standard deviation from last year? Is it the monthly high? There's all different kinds of ways you can do it. And stop losses and take profits, that's really up to you. You know, it went off the bat and you thought it was supposed to snap down. When should you take your profits? Should you get all the way back to the mean? Close enough? What if you're wrong in measuring how far that should be? You know, how far do you let it go? If you say, no, it's not going to return, it's still moving. And then, you know, really not with so much noise now and so many things in the market, you really got to have something to filter that, whether you have the RSI, the DMI, it could be the alligator, it could be the MACD, it could be the CCI, it could be any of those kind of things. And all you really have to do is just think about how can I code a strategy, use logic says. I'll just give you an example. The fair value is the moving average, and computer, you find out for me if it's going to be the exponential moving average, if it's going to be the simple moving average, if it's going to be an adaptive moving average. You find that out for me, computer, and you find out for me what period that's going to be on. And then computer, if I measure the distance by an ATR, I measure the difference by standard deviation, however I want to measure this. If I measure that as being too far away, and I were to enter and filter it out and only take it if the RSI is below 20 or above 80, and I try a few stop loss and take profits, what shows some potential? What kind of strategies could I come out? This is what I do. I've built models for these different types of strategies, and I basically will go into NinjaTrader or go into TradeStation, and I'll load that strategy up, and I'll run some optimizations. And usually it's going to be the genetic algorithm, and I'm going to say, look, because honestly, if you code it to where the strategy can consider any possible filter, any possible point of entry, any possible distance mechanism, any possible fair value piece, then you're going to have millions and millions of possibles. You're not going to sit there through the whole thing. So I'll code and I'll do maybe 50 generations of 100. And I'll let it just run through there. And it'll spit out, you know, these are the ones I tried. This is what their net profit was, their profit factor. This is their drawdown. And I'll take a look at that. And I'll be like, which one of these have potential for me to then go take? Try it on a large set of data rather than just a year or two. Which one of these come out and prove robust? Which one of these I want to try on some? Which one of these do I maybe want to then put into my portfolio? And that way I'm not constantly having to recode these strategies left and right. If I go read a book and pick up a book from Kaufman or ICT or somebody else and read about their strategy, and I'm like, you know, that could be a really cool strategy. Well, how can I make a model to find different parameters that would fit this theory and backtest them on data and see what's potential? And it's not going to really be curve fit because I'm mining this data on maybe 1 or 2 years. And then I'll use 10, 15, or 20 years to see if this is robust and fits over there and is actually something that has an edge versus something that doesn't, versus something that's overfit or just crap and is going to fall apart. And this is really the key to survival as an algo trader, is because, you know, markets and things are going to change. You're going to want to move strategies in and out. You got to reoptimize, because to me, the biggest detriment to people trying to get into algo trading is they can't come up with enough ideas, so they can't refine down and get that first algo that can really go live, and they'll rush it because they get frustrated and they'll lose their money. But you can set this up and have your computer just constantly running this and giving you candidates that you can put through your robustness tests, and you'll find those strategies you want to run. And then the fun part is, when I don't have to constantly get these ideas, I can just take potential candidates and see what'll fit into a portfolio and build a portfolio and concentrate on position sizing and everything else. That's how you get results. And so I would say, approach these problems like it's a model and then code it as a model. That's how I do it. I think even just this week, I've got two different machines running, and I think I will try out and mine through about two. Well, every time I do it, there's 8,000 possibilities. And I've run it about 12,000 through that. The 12 through that, so that's 96,000 possibilities tried out in a week on one particular year of data. And I change that around. That's just for one instrument, and I do two instruments a week. Then I'll take 20 from each of those runs that are possibly good candidates to put through robustness testing. And so I'll take, 20 times 12, that's 240 of those 12,000. And there may be none of those that are worth even looking forward. But I'm not constantly banging my head against the wall and trying to find the extra time. I can set my computer to run, go to work, come back, see what candidates I've got and move forward. It really shortens the learning curve. And tell me what you think about this. Have you thought? Can you think about ways to do other things like breakouts or arbitrage? What do you think about models? This model right here is real easy for someone to code in there and have the computer choose them for you. And maybe in future videos, if enough people ask for and want it, I'll actually share how you could code and set one of these up, and you can go from there. And it really is. It's like basically doing data mining and letting the algorithm, the genetic algorithm, find it for you. It's not AI, it's not machine learning, but it's using that computing power to really cut ahead so you don't have to come up with thousands of strategies to try. Because traditionally, algo traders might go through, try 200 or 300 strategies that they just thought up in a year, come up with two they might actually could trade. Well, I'm not going to sit there and do that. I'm going to go through 200 or 300 a week and have 96,000 different candidates to pick from to determine which ones are even worth anything. And you'll never run out of ideas that way because um, if you think you've exhausted everything on the one year front year, well, guess what? We've got another year as soon as January 1st, 2025 comes up, and that data is going to look different, and you might find a candidate that you might not found before, and there could be millions of iterations in there, and you won't be curve fit because you're not using this and just taking that from one year of data and starting to trade it. You're finding using one year of data, doing a thorough mine to find candidates, and then all this unseen data is what you're using on those candidates to see what might work and what isn't. It keeps you from being curve fit and keeps you from having to come up with all those strategies. So tell me what you think.